Slave Zoo with the Senior Pickleball Report powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. All right, in our People of Pickleball episode today, we get down to business with health and supplements. We're talking with one of the founders from Cellementals, something that's pretty groundbreaking because it really gets to the foundation, which is creating things with whole foods in them. But before we get to that interview, if you like this content, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out all the discounts in the description. And hey, check out our newsletter, our new website, and our merch page as well. All right, let's get to that conversation with Blair from Cellementals. Okay, we have Blair from Cellementals. Welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report, Blair.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We spoke for several months about your product, and I think it's an amazing thing that is sort of missing in today's what I call Frankenstein foods, and other people call as well, and all this things that are obviously put together and called food. And you've created something I think that is desperately needed, and we'll get to that. But it's a pickleball podcast, and I need to know, sort of where pickleball falls in your life and how it's sort of touched your world a little bit, and obviously your company.
Well, it's a good fit for my company as well as me personally, but I have not played it yet. And like I told you earlier, I secretly want to get really good at it and play my brother, who just is so crazy for it, and just crush him. And we do have pickleball around us. I do live remotely, but it's not as convenient as if I were living in a city. But what brought me, yeah, and the connection, yes, you can relate. The connection to the product is I'm just so intrigued with people, especially seniors, who we have a little bit more of this get to do time instead of everything having to be have to do time. And for a senior to wake up and say, I'm going to crush it on the pickleball court today, is someone that will get the intention behind what we've put together. They're not someone that's going to be so neurotic about caving in to the fear of missing out of all of these extreme type of supplements, or they're going to question or be a little bit skeptical of standard of care medicine. And so I'm just very excited to get more and more kind of involved in the community. And that's why I connected with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great because pickleball is obviously going gangbusters for a sport that's been around. I think it's just the 60th anniversary year. It came out in 1965, invented by some older gentlemen trying to entertain their kids on a weekend. And then COVID hits and it explodes. And now everybody's sort of trying to get what I call an edge in the game, whether that be a technological thing with equipment or a physicality thing with working out or nutrition based, obviously. And From my experience, what you've done, it's kind of given me an energy boost. And so I've got obviously your little tin here of your product. And so talk to me really, about the name first and where that came from, and then we can delve into exactly kind of what it is and what it can do for people.
Well, Cellementals is kind of a combination of what we focused on in the formulation, and it's just kind of what is elemental to and necessary to our foundation, and what is amazingly overlooked, even with a lot of, I used to work with a lot of functional medicine as an advisor to functional medicine type practitioners who are more kind of into getting at the root cause. But there's this, you probably heard of polypharmacy, where you go to the doctor and you get put on one medicine. Well, that medicine a lot of times is not getting to the root cause, and it causes your body to have to adjust to it, and then that causes other symptoms. So you get put on, one med, begets another med, but I'm seeing that in the supplement industry too, because so many supplements today are just these isolated synthetic compounds. They're just, and our bodies did not evolve with that. And so when it's something unknown to the body, it kind of throws it for a loop a little bit, brings it out of its balance, which is what the body wants. And so, you may feel it, you may feel it the first couple of times you take it, but if it's, natural nutrients do not occur in isolation or by themselves, and they don't act that way. So then your body has to readjust itself, just like if you're given like certain pharmaceuticals to adapt to that. And then that can create other problems. And so when I was working with these functional medicine practitioners, my soapbox was like, they were like, okay, well, what's the best source of choline? And they were, asking about supplement wise, or CoQ10, and, I would always say things like, eggs. So
Food.
the best source of these nutrients that are being marketed like, oh, fearfully that you're going to miss out on some, is always going to be food, because it's just what we have adapted to throughout our evolution, and what our body knows best and immediately resonates with. And so what happens with these supplements that aren't based in whole foods, you may start out with one or two of the bottles on the kitchen cabinet. Well, then it just builds and builds and builds till you have a kitchen cabinet full of them. And, you open it up and they start falling on your head. Whereas what we wanted to do, and I always I see that marketing and I get it. I mean, it's kind of cool to, to think about what they say, the effects are. But it's not something that your body can sustain. It adapts to, and it's one of those supplements that after a couple of months, you forget why you even started taking it. And
Right.
so it doesn't mean that those don't have any utility to them, but they should not, you should not be doing them without the foundation of these nutrients, without the natural sources, the precursors, the support of your body's ability to produce them. And so that's what we formulated in Cellementals, and it's food. It's actually food, and we put it in the convenience of a capsule. And what we did, our priority was to make it as nutrient dense, having as, cramming in the highest density of nutrients that we could find. And that's going to be foods that are a lot of the foods that are missing in modern diets. And, we're old enough to remember our grandparents or our great grandparents, certainly they ate eggs and liver, but, we even, I don't have a palate for liver. So, we put them in the convenience of a capsule, and beyond the foods that are missing and the nutrients that are missing in the modern diet. And again, this is the whole food form. So again, your body's just going to be like, oh, yay, thank you. Where has this been? But we also wanted to help folks that are kind of stuck. And especially, I was working with these practitioners during kind of the COVID, and they had so many folks that were stuck, and they just couldn't they couldn't play pickleball, let alone get off the couch.
Right.
And so we wanted to address that as well. And so we brought in our two top ingredients. They're actually a rank among nature's top survivalists. And one is the top one is sea cucumber. And people think, oh, sea cucumber, sea vegetable. No, it's an animal. And it's in the family of like starfish and sea urchin. And you've seen a starfish on the beach, and one of its
Right.
little rays knocks off, and what happens? It grows it back.
Right.
Yeah. And so the sea cucumber actually does that with its organs. When it's threatened, it shoots them out, and it looks like silly string, and it ties up or freaks the predator out. And then within a couple of weeks, the sea cucumber regenerates its organs. So it has compounds that you can't find anywhere else. And they are astonishing. And I give these compounds, and you can find out more about them on our website, but I give them the credit for how people feel it. And we've had people turn around from, not being able to get out of bed. And, my husband was one, and, he put his chainsaw chaps on the next day and was cutting down, trees for firewood. And so there's something to it that really resonates, and it resonates because it impacts the cell. If a lot of these companies try to suck you into saying, hey, let's accelerate, let's push that cell, let's accelerate, the mitochondria is where we produce energy. Let's accelerate mitochondrial function. And you could feel that supplement. It would be like an espresso shot, just one specific area, but you can't. Pushing the cell is stressing the cell. So
Right.
to do. And so we support the cell. The ingredients in Cellemental Complete makes it so the cell is not always playing defense. So it can kind of calm down. And then we provision it with all the elements that it needs to work properly. And then and from everything, from the membranes on the cell membranes, to the organs in the cell, the organelles. I mean, we then enable the cell to go out and kind of reconnect with other cells and do what it's supposed to do and come back online. So it's something that, like I said, I really do think that picklers would or do seem to resonate with, and like it's my brother's secret weapon. He'll go out and play for 5 hours. And our main feedback is productivity, which it doesn't sound real sexy, but that's pretty amazing, because that is a full body effect. So that means it's affecting, your whole systems. And, again, I think, pickleballers who wake up and say, I'm going to crush it on the pickleball court today. They're focused on having a best day. And that's what we're focused on bringing people is, doing that through, nutrients and whole foods that are missing and that have, unique kind of properties.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, when you say these things to me, it certainly shows to me at least the absolute insanity that you have to convince people that, hey, food is the foundation of how all of this works. That's how far down the road we've gone.
Yeah.
That we literally have to convince people that, listen, you gotta have a base before you can do all. It's like in pickleball, everybody wants to learn the cool shots, and you can't learn the cool shots if you can't do the basic footwork pattern to get yourself into position to hit that shot, anyways. But everybody wants to do the racket sport or the paddle sport, really cool stuff first, and then because it's exciting, it's fun, you feel it, and that's what I'm trying to get to is like I don't necessarily feel a lot from it, and I don't know what that means, but I think what I take from it is the ingredients, and I know what's in it and what's happening in there without always having to feel something every single time I do it, or that sort of instant gratification, and just knowing that, hey, this is probably missing based on what I eat daily. And this is an important aspect to really kind of give me a solid foundation. Whether or not I'm feeling it or not, great. If I feel more energy, awesome. But I know just from speaking with you multiple times and doing some research that this is good for me because it's food.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, you hit on a couple of important points in that, and you mentioned like Frankenfoods earlier. Yes, this takes a guesswork. out of, okay,
Right.
did I cover my bases today? This takes the guesswork out of it. And then also it can counter things like frankenfood. It can counter, other kind of modern exposures that we're not going to give up on, but, kind of we take a hit from. So it helps kind of counter that. And, it does it better than anything in isolation because it's what the body is already adapted to and knows. And it's funny that you say you don't necessarily feel it. And that's actually that's actually pretty cool because to feel something like with an extreme or synthetic kind of supplement, that's almost an indication that this is just a quick fix. It's not anything sustainable. And what
Right.
will probably, and what a lot of people notice, if they're already healthy, again, it's just giving them that foundational support. And if they do that, they probably don't have to do, if they do something like Cellementals or incredibly nutrient dense diet, they will find that they need a little else to keep them healthy. But also what you'll potentially notice, and it's kind of after the fact, and it's something that we hear from a lot of people, is they're like, I so appreciate this. I mean, it just supports me in the way that makes sense to me. And then they said, at the end of the month, at the end of the winter, I noticed I was around so many people who were so sick, and I didn't
Mm.
get sick. So it's things like that.
Right.
So it's just this kind of all-encompassing or full body resilience. And then for
Yeah.
people who are really missing this and really struggling it, they can really feel it. So
Yeah. And for those people who are, I like to use this word a lot, addicted to productivity, and want to always be productive or feel they need to
yeah,
be productive, this may be
yeah.
for them as well. Like, I've always had this conversation with my wife, who is highly productive. And I always say, and this is probably the absolute truth, she keeps me alive, while I'm doing this goofy pickleball thing. It has for many other of my ventures through our marriage. But the idea of, like, I always just say, does it have to be a productive day? Like, did the day have to be productive? But for those folks, might give them
Well,
a
and
little,
and maybe a better word is an intentional day. It's
yeah,
so it's like if you want to sit and I mean there is a lot of benefit from taking it easy and being
sure,
outside and just soaking it in. But so the productivity is more for people that want to be active and productive, but they can't manage to even, take a shower.
right,
Or they just aren't at, or they're the seniors that are just thinking, gosh, I was hoping I'd feel better in this stage of my life, and they just chalk it up to, well, I guess I'm just getting older, you
yeah,
know.
right,
And
right.
do you wake up saying that, um,
Yeah, sure. We all do. You get
sometimes.
up, you're a little achy, you're a little sore, you're limping around. I used to go out for runs, and then I would start, and I mean, like, actually, I'm going out for a limp, is what I called it near the end of my running days.
I love that, going out for a limp. But yeah, so it is. You just want to take full advantage of this crazy, unique chance at this time of our lives.
Yeah,
And so it really does resonate with seniors. So, that's another reason why I wanted to come
yeah.
on. Yeah.
I always tell people to take care of their. You get this meat suit for, a few, some
Yeah,
decades that you get
yeah,
to play around in, which is pretty cool.
yeah,
Um, why not, give it the full energy to do some of these things. And I just, when I brought up productivity, obviously I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Like, we are a culture obsessed with being productive. And I
right.
actually think that's a beneficial thing for your product to mention that, it will help you be more productive, because there are many people that, that is the baseline of how they evaluate themselves as people too. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not going to
true.
change that by having a conversation with them necessarily online. And if they can find something that can help them do that and help and resonates with them, and obviously is healthy, and they can maintain that, and ultimately, um, it helps their self esteem because they are productive. And that's not a knock. That's just the way they're built.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's just another element of getting this product in people's hands, whether or not they can't move or they just want to be more productive, or obviously the foundational piece, which fits all of it. It is, the things we're all missing because there's ho-hos out there, there's Big Macs out there, there's
Are there
cereals
still
out
ho-hos
there.
out there? I haven't seen a
Oh
ho-ho in a
yeah,
long
oh yeah. I had a ding
time.
dong the other day.
You
Man,
did?
yeah, not
Wow.
a good thing after you partake a little because you like eat 12 ding dongs. But what I'm saying here is,
Oh, I need to get you some of this. We went to a conference, and
yeah, I want to talk about that, right?
I'm in Black Mountain, North Carolina, where we went through the hurricane recently, and that was
Right.
very telling. And another thing, we put so much nutrient density in here that if you could survive on a diet of the ingredients alone. So I was really glad to have this on
That's
hand
incredible.
when we were cut off from everything. But anyway, so we also think there's a big survival aspect to it. So for the conference, we put and strike a balance, always be prepared with a, you don't see these much anymore,
You do
matchbooks.
not. You do
People,
not. You
people,
just see a lot of
people were
plastic
like,
Bic lighters laying around, right?
yeah, people were like, what is that?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So talk about the conference. I mean, that's what I want to finish with is sort of, you've been at this a little while now and you've put it in front of a lot of people. And now you're going to conferences and things like that. Um, what's the feedback? Any pushback? Where are you in this journey?
Well, and we are a very new company and just kind of building out, getting a presence. So we went to our first one. It was Health Optimization Summit in Austin, and they have Uber cars that drive themselves, by the way. And I didn't know that that's
Yeah,
what I ordered. It was terrifying. Um,
yeah, I'm sure.
so, but it was a good fit for us. We got great feedback, and we really did stand out because a lot of the other supplement or nutraceuticals, which is more of a natural type of supplement companies, were having that fear of missing out. Oh, we're synthetic and we're very, very targeted. So and everyone was enchanted by. We had a big sea cucumber on our kind of banner and everything. So yeah, we want to do that more. And also, if we really do want to go to pickleball events, so if anybody
Yeah,
has any recommendations for us, let us know. And yeah, definitely reach out because we're a new company. If you have any ideas, um, that we love collaborating. So
right, right. And there are senior pro tours, so 50 plus. And even if you're not a senior, obviously this could be something that fits well in anybody's life. But in particular, because I'm the senior pickleball report channel, um, there's a lot of, I think, opportunity out there for seniors to really kind of up their nutrition, especially folks that are working as hard as they do to maintain a particular level of play, working out and all those other things. So um, before we let you go, obviously, what are you excited for the remainder of this year and maybe into the future for Cellementals?
well, for Cellementals, we want to really hone our message in and get people to appreciate. So it's actually more than just the Cellementals. It's more of the mindset. It's like, come
Right.
on, people. It's more of this. Let's get reasonable. Let's use some common sense. You've got to have those foundational elements, and it really. And I'm APOE44, which is a genetic variant that makes me at the highest risk, among the highest risk for developing Alzheimer's. And so I also formulated this with that in mind. And because I have that genetic profile, I am very reactive to everything. And so I know right away what is good for me and what isn't. And this stuff, I cannot wait to take it. And don't do this. Well, you can try it, but I love the taste of it.
Yeah.
My business partner doesn't, but I open up the capsules, put them under my tongue, or I'll put them on cool foods and sauces. And
Yeah.
it really does completely resonate me. And and everyone else, that we're getting it to, it's not something they forget to take. And it's pretty. You can leave it, right out on your kitchen counter, and it makes so much other things obsolete. And then also for myself, if anybody's in my area and wants to be my secret trainer for pickleball so that I can crush my brother on the court, let me know.
Yeah. And I'm willing to give you some online tips as the best I can. So.
Oh, cool. I love that.
Thanks, Blair. Blair from Cellementals. Check out the links in the description and go on and do your own research on it and read about it. I think that the big thing that you mentioned late here is, and I tell people this too who have tried it in my circles, is open it up and put it on your food if you like, because you can't say
Yep.
that about a lot of things you get in a capsule. And I think that's, if anything, that's a great testimonial that hey, you're putting food on your food. So.
Yeah. You're enhancing your food. Now, do you? We do have a coupon code as well.
Yes, which will be
Yeah.
right there.
Oh, you got it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All
We'll
righty.
put that up. And again, folks, obviously, sort of try it out and see what you think and give us some feedback in the comments. Blair's always interested in to hear what people say and think. And, she'll have the video in her hands when this comes out, and she can kind of look at the comments and maybe answer some questions if you have any.
Perfect.
All right, Blair, thank you. And always a joy talking to you.
You too. Take it easy.
Hey, hope you enjoyed our conversation with Blair from Cellementals here on the road back to New Mexico. All right, folks, you know what to do at the end of the day. Let's pickle.